Police officers in Reddick, Florida responded to a disturbing 911 call shortly after midnight on the morning of Sunday, June the 9th, 2024.
I'm up here in Reddick. I'm at a house. A 91-year-old lady calls in saying she was just raped. We get on scene. She's beat up really bad. And I guess she says she went to bed, woke up, and there's someone standing over her with a Spanish accent, and he just starts beating the hell out of her. And then he penetrated her several times with his finger. Not his actual penis though, because he couldn't. I guess she's made a comment about couldn't get erect or wasn't erect or whatever.
The elderly victim's neighbors were shocked and angered by the brutal attack.
But she's so sweet. Why would they do something like this to her? I'm so mad.
Yeah.
By then, the mysterious assailant was long gone, but suspicion quickly fell on a friendly 14-year-old who lived across the street.
Okay, is there any reason at all that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Yeah, we hugged. When I said goodbye to her, we hugged, like a side hug.
Okay.
That's.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA was on her underwear.
What?
Jesse Randy John Stone had a difficult childhood, to say the least. According to his grandmother, his father introduced him to pornography when he was in the 4th grade.
My friend showed them to me when I was 10.
10? So you've been watching them since you were 10?
Off and on, yeah.
Okay. How often do you think you were watching them before you got put on restriction?
Once or twice a week.
Okay. And what kind of stuff were you watching? Looking at pictures? Were you watching videos?
A mix of both.
A mix of both? Okay.
And shortly thereafter, Randy John's parents abandoned him and his sister. Luckily, their maternal grandmother took them into her home in the small town of Reddick in north-central Florida, between Gainesville to the north and Ocala to the south. She showered her grandchildren with love and affection and did the best to provide them with a stable, structured, and supportive environment. But despite her best efforts, Randy John was always a handful. In addition to being a habitual liar, his obsession with pornography eventually morphed into a full-blown addiction. Randy John was thrilled when his mother showed back up unexpectedly. For a while, he thought it might lead to the happy reunion that he and his sister had been waiting for. But sadly, his mother dashed his hopes in a dramatic fashion when she took his sister and left him with his grandmother. Randy John loved his grandmother, but being abandoned by his biological mother twice was more than he could bear. According to some friends and relatives, he never got over it, and to make matters even worse, his mother wouldn't let him see his sister, with whom he had formed a particularly strong bond. Unsurprisingly, Randy John struggled with depression and low self-esteem. As a result, his behavior got worse and worse. His grandmother tried to get him help on multiple occasions, but her pleas fell on deaf ears.
This incident happened. I was already reaching out for help. I called the police a couple different times, trying to get help for him. I called the school counselor trying to get help for him, but nobody seems to, that end of things, they failed. And I really believe had he gotten the help that he needed then, he would not be here right now. I really believe that.
Nonetheless, Randy John did well in school. He usually got A's and B's on his report cards, and at one point he was so far ahead of his classmates that he skipped a grade. Randy John had a few close friends from his school and around the neighborhood. He was also friendly with a number of his adult neighbors. He stopped by one woman's house on the afternoon of Friday, June the 7th of 2024, just to say hello. By then, they were good friends. They hadn't seen each other in a few months, but before, Randy John had regularly helped her with yard work and household chores that she couldn't do herself. That day, they had a brief but pleasant conversation on the woman's front porch before Randy John said goodbye and walked back to his grandmother's house. Just before midnight on Saturday, June the 8th of 2024, a 91-year-old Reddick woman woke to strange sounds in her house. Her bedroom was nearly pitch black, and at that point her eyes had not adjusted to the darkness. But when she peered down the hallway, she saw a shadowy figure approaching in an intimidating, hunched-over manner. A moment or two later, the intruder entered the bedroom, climbed onto the bed, straddled her, and placed a pillow over her face. She tried to fight the attacker off, but he was younger. Shortly thereafter, they rolled off the bed and onto the floor. At that point, the attacker tried to get her back on the bed, and in the process, he grabbed her underwear by the waistband and tore them from her body. When they were back on the bed, he put the pillow back over her face and sexually assaulted her. Then, to her surprise, he released his grip, climbed off the bed, and ran down the hallway into the darkness. The woman called 911 shortly after the attacker fled, and police officers and EMTs arrived a few minutes later. While the ambulance crew attended to the victim, officers secured the home and yard and reported the situation to their supervisor.
I'm up here in Reddick. I'm at a house. A 91-year-old lady calls in saying she was just. We get on scene. She's beat up really bad. And I guess she says she went to bed, woke up, and there's someone standing over her with a Spanish accent, and he just starts beating the hell out of her. And then he penetrated her several times with his finger. Not his actual penis, though, because he couldn't. I guess she's made a comment about couldn't get erect or wasn't erect or whatever. But he did finger her, and then she began screaming more, and then he ran out the house. I'm on scene now with deputies. I got K9 and L1 coming. But she's probably going to be getting transported to the hospital because she got wailed on pretty good.
Okay. All right. And, you know, hospital you think she'll go, or we don't know yet?
I don't know yet. I would assume probably Advent. I mean, I can't say for sure. But I'm going to have a deputy follow the ambulance with her. And like I said, the only fact we got at this point that's been disclosed is that he did finger her. But she says that he didn't penetrate her with his penis. And I got evidence heading up to the house too. So.
All right.
So she's saying, so she leaves her side door open. There's 2 entrances to her house. She leaves one open. She said she was asleep in bed. She woke up to a shadow. Hold on, what's LT saying? So she saw a shadow approaching her, and all of a sudden he just started like wailing on her. She's significantly injured in her face and got a big gash on her arm. She's 91 years old. So she says that the guy sounded Hispanic and he was telling her to be still and penetrated her with his fingers. And she said that he felt like he was not erect, but maybe trying to be. She said it lasted about 15,
That's hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, she says he never took off his pants.
She said he never took off his pants, and it lasted about 15-20 minutes, and he left about 5 to 10 minutes prior to us going 97.
After that, they canvassed the area and talked to a number of neighbors to see if they saw or heard anything out of the ordinary.
Hey, how's it going? You see anybody out here running around or anything?
No, I haven't.
All right, you have cameras or anything?
No.
No?
Light, that's all I got.
You said what?
The light, I'm calling off motion light. That's all I got. Is she okay?
I believe she'll be okay.
Well,
She should be okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Get the plate.
Not obviously.
What's going on?
Hey, did you see anybody run through here or anything?
Not to my yard, but I've been kind of went in the house at 9:30 to eat dinner.
Okay.
And came back out with my son. Said he saw one of the cars.
Oh, okay.
And I was sitting there for a minute. And my
Your son live here too?
Huh?
Your son live here too?
Yeah, my son lives here. My daughter and son-in-law are down here from West Virginia on vacation. There was a car earlier that came up there. Like it was still daylight out there, but I think it was one of her friends.
Okay.
I mean, it looked familiar, like I've seen the car before.
Okay.
But nobody's been in my yard because I got dogs out and stuff.
Right. Okay.
Is she okay?
I hope.
I mean, I've known this lady since I was 10 years old. So.
Okay.
Hey, bro, come and say you're okay.
Seems like somebody may or may not have was over here messing with her. Have you seen anybody walking around or anything?
No, I can look on my camera.
Can you please do that for me, please?
All right.
EMTs eventually took the 91-year-old victim to a nearby hospital. Thankfully, her injuries weren't life-threatening. That said, she was covered in bruises and abrasions and wearing a cervical collar when investigators arrived to ask her more questions. Unfortunately, she couldn't describe the assailant because it was so dark and because he held a pillow over her face. The woman also told investigators that nothing suspicious or out of the ordinary had happened in the days before the attack. But almost as an afterthought, she told them about the neighborhood boy who had stopped by her home that Friday for a quick chat. In the early going, investigators didn't find anything incriminating while searching the victim's home. But with an unsolved crime and a dangerous fugitive on the loose, they picked up where they left off early the following morning.
The man went round the corner right there. He lived round the corner. We ain't seen nothing. Okay. But she's so sweet. Why would they do something like this to her? I'm so mad.
Yeah. Do you know of any duplexes in the vicinity here?
Only the ones across there.
Right here?
And then they got some new ones, but I don't know. I think one couple just moved in there. But these over here, they got it's a black. My cousin staying one empty, and then they got a Mexican girl, her and her sister, whatever, and then they got.
Is there a guy that lives in the Spanish family?
I don't think so.
It's just females?
I think so. I haven't seen none of them, but my cousin says women stay over there. So.
All right. So if you come back out here, take a left.
The apartment's right across the road.
How you doing, bud? Hey, I'm Sergeant Mitchell with the Sheriff's Office. Probably figured why I'm here.
Yeah, we just heard it. We heard about it last night.
So, what Miss was telling me that yesterday during the day you saw an F-150 come down here?
Black F-150 about 3 different times. And they sat up there, like they pulled around, and they just sat there for a couple minutes. Then they pulled off, they come back, and then they were sitting up there again. Get down.
Do you know what time of day it was, approximately?
It was about, I'd say about, it was about 12, 1 o'clock.
Noon or midnight?
Noon.
Noon.
Yeah. I mean, it happened 3 different times. Usually you don't.
And within, say, 30 minutes or an hour?
Yeah, within 30 minutes, yeah. They pulled up, he turned around, he sat there for a minute, then he pulled away, and then come right back and was sitting back there. And then what was it? Let's see. What day did we leave to go to Daytona? It was
I don't remember.
Tuesday?
Probably is.
Because there was another Tuesday. There was a car sitting on the other side of that bush right there. A different car on Tuesday.
How long have you been living here?
You don't live here, I do.
Yeah.
How long have you been living here?
On and off since 1971.
One neighbor allegedly told them that they should talk to a 14-year-old boy named Jesse Randy John Stone, and shortly thereafter, he rode up on his bicycle and told them that a neighbor had something to show them. When investigators got to the neighbor's house, the owner showed them security camera footage of a suspicious person in the area the night of the attack. Interestingly, the shadowy figure's clothes looked nearly identical to what Randy John was wearing when he approached the deputies. Later, forensic technicians collected a number of DNA samples from the victim, and lo and behold, tests revealed DNA from 2 distinct donors. Since Randy John was a minor, investigators needed his grandmother's permission to take his DNA so that it could be compared to a sample taken from the victim. She agreed, and when the results came back, officers went to Randy John's high school and took him into custody and drove him to the police station for additional questioning.
Younger, you used to go over and talk with her quite a bit.
I'd go over, talk, help her.
Okay.
I haven't been able to get over there as much anymore, but
sure. He's on restriction. Yeah. A lot.
That's what the vocab.
Vocab is restriction.
Oh.
I see. Okay. Okay.
I'd say, yeah, like when she stopped by, when she was driving, I had been over there 3 or 4 months.
Okay, like over at her house?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been able to get over there anymore.
So when you would go over to her house, would it just to talk with her, or would you like help her out around the house and stuff?
Most of the time I went over to help, but if she got tired, we just talk.
Sure.
So all we did was either yard work or around her place or talk.
Yeah. Well, she described you as one of her friends, so she's, obviously very fond of you. So, okay. So prior to Friday, when you went and sat with her on the porch, the last time you'd been over there, like, when you were, I guess, at her house was 3 or 4 months ago. But you had seen her, she had, like, she was driving and she saw him stop by and talk to you. Okay, gotcha.
Investigators got things started by asking Randy John about visiting the victim at her home on that Friday.
Tell me about your talk with her on Friday. Do you guys remember what you talked about?
She asked me how school was doing. She asked, what I was interested in because it's been a while since I've been over there. We talked about her family that went over to Italy.
Her daughter, I guess, that went over there?
Yeah, if it was. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then, I asked her about these blackout things that she had been having. She said that she gave me a name. I forget what it was, but she said that she hadn't been having them as much anymore.
Oh, okay.
And then I don't remember anything else.
And y'all talked, you said, on the front porch? Is that what you said?
Porch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever talk, like, just for Friday? Did you ever, like, go inside her house at all and talk with her or anything like that?
No. Not that I remember.
They already knew about his troubled childhood, that he was a chronic liar, and that he was addicted to pornography. As such, they decided to turn up the pressure to see if they could get him to confess to committing the horrific assault.
I'm just going to be honest with you because, I feel like you've been mostly honest with me. And I know your mom's been honest with me. Is it okay if I call you his mom?
Yeah.
Guardian? Okay, I don't mean to.
It's okay, yeah.
But when I came over to you on, I think that was Sunday, and I was asking you about your clothes and the video and such, and I explained that I wanted to get your DNA because I knew that you had been over there before because you mentioned, like you told us today, that you had talked with her. So I knew that at the very least, there would be evidence of you being in the porch.
Yeah.
Right? So I went and met with your mom, and you guys signed a consent form, and we got your DNA.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So we sent your DNA and the kid up to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, who does the testing and stuff for stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. Is there any reason at all that your DNA would be on her clothes?
Yeah, we when I said goodbye to her, we hugged, like a slight hug.
Okay.
That's.
Let me be a little bit more specific. Your DNA was on her underwear.
What?
And so I want you to really use this time here to be honest with me about what happened that night, because I think that we know what happened, and I think that your mom knows what happened because she also wrote down a list of times that you went in and out of the house that night, to include the time that the call came in. And I think you probably know that you wouldn't be in here unless we had a good reason to put you in.
I don't see. What?
It's not about C, Randy John. It's truth. Yeah, truth.
It's impossible for my DNA to be on her underwear.
That's what we like to think too, brother, but that stuff doesn't lie, that stuff doesn't get made up. Sometimes the truth can be hard. You seem like a really good guy, man. You seem like you got a good head on your shoulders, you make connections with people that need help, you go out there and you help other people.
Part of their plan involved showing Randy John and his grandmother disturbing photos of the victim's injuries.
Making statements.
Come over here and tell me.
That doesn't make you a bad person for making a mistake. But we just need to understand, like, who is Randy John, man? I don't. And we don't think that was the intention. But we need to understand what happened.
Randy, I want to be real clear with you. We know what happened. what I want to hear from your own words. Everything that went on that night.
God. Holy cow.
I want to know why this happened.
Randy, help us understand that.
Randy, look at me for a second. You did this exact same thing when I asked you about you walking down the road or jogging down the road at 11 o'clock. And you did the whole, I don't remember, and I was like, bullshit. And you finally admitted to it. And I think this is the exact same thing. I know what happened. And it's only going to help you for you to be honest with me about what happened. Because like I said, we know what happened because we have your DNA after cleansing.
Like you said, it's not like we're talking about a sweater that it was found on. It's in this elderly woman's underwear. What are you thinking, man? We're putting everything out here, and you're kind of just looking at all this, man. I know it might be a shock, but what are you thinking?
I'm overly confused.
What are you confused about?
I wasn't even near her house. I was across the street.
As disturbing as the images were, Randy John claimed that he was across the street at his grandmother's house when the assault took place. Needless to say, he could not explain the neighbor's security camera footage, which directly contradicted his version of events.
A whole hour? You were gone.
Yeah. I said I was gone for about an hour.
Well, it so happens that you came back. Now, granted, this is notes that your mom told, but 43 minutes past midnight, you came from the outside with your shoes in your hand. Why were you holding your shoes? And don't forget that we have this now. So I'm going to be able to corroborate everything she said.
Got a lot of people that got a lot invested in it.
I can't even believe somebody did that. I think maybe Ryan and I can go step outside real quick and kind of go over our notes. Mom, I don't know if you want to have a couple minutes to talk with your son. Randy, I want you to think real long and hard about everything that happened. And I want to do this, listen, more than I want to have the truth from you about what happened, because I know that you know what happened, I want to do this for her. If she is as an amazing of a person as you say she is, and I believe you because I've talked with her, getting all of this out in the open for her is what matters. Okay? And the first step to that is for you to be honest with us about what happened. That's the first step for you as well. For you to be able to move on from this is to tell us what happened. But it starts with telling us what happened here.
At that point, investigators excused themselves and left him alone with his grandmother.
She deserves the truth to be told, and you know it. Personally, I can't believe that this is a horrible thing with you, John. That's a horrible thing.
I don't even have the ability to do that.
Well, it's hard for me to believe, too. It's really hard for me to believe, too, that you would do a thing like this.
I didn't.
But how many times have you been caught in lies?
I know.
And this is the whole reason why you're on restriction. It's because you're not telling the truth about things. If this woman deserves to have the truth, she deserves it, and you know that.
What?
Don't say why's, Reddy John, because why doesn't exist here.
I wasn't at her house.
Reddy John, it's across the street. Look at her. Look at her. That's Look at her face. That's me. That's.
I don't even think like that.
I've never seen you hurt anybody, but
I don't want to hurt
what the hell are you doing outside at that time of night? It doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? Reddy John, it doesn't make any sense. There's a million different things you can do. Being outside where you don't belong, and you know you don't belong out there.
I'm sorry, but I'm an outdoorsy person.
You're not an outdoorsy person. You're a sit in front of the TV kind of guy.
I don't have TV. I'm outside.
Well, I don't know. I hope and pray you did not do this to this woman.
didn't.
I hope and pray. I hope and pray you did not do this. Because this is horrific. This is a human being. And she deserves justice.
She pleaded with him to do the right thing before leaving the interrogation room. Investigators returned moments later and continued questioning him without his grandmother present.
I can understand if you didn't intend to hit her in the face, because I don't think you intended to do that by any stretch of the means. I 100% believe that. And I know if you're in a house and you're going to go take a candy bar or something like that, and then someone comes walking in the kitchen, you end up popping them one in the face and run away. I don't think that person intended to hit them. But you did a very specific thing, Randy John. I'm not judging you for it. I'm not saying you're a bad person for it, but you'd have to agree that putting your fingers inside is a very particular thing. That just doesn't happen on accident, and I know you know that. Help me understand that, man. So I think there's more to the story.
Is that something that what you did? Is that something that you had seen in one of the videos? What? No.
Randy John kept his head down and didn't say much as they asked him increasingly pointed questions.
You understand that, like, on you say a grandpad or an iPad or whatever it is that has like internet search history, and we have people that specialize in just looking in things that even if someone deleted it, it's still going to be there. And I imagine you know that we're going to go look at that after this, right? So do you want to be the guy that tells the truth?
It's unclear what caused Randy John's change of heart, but he eventually confessed to breaking into the 91-year-old's home and sexually assaulting her.
Well, let's imagine that this is the pillow. Show me what you would do. If she was kind of in front of you, show me what you would do.
I was just kind of like holding it there so she couldn't really see me. And I was holding it down a little harder, closer to her mouth so she couldn't really scream or yell.
Okay. And at some point you said you told her to what did you say? To be quiet?
I didn't say anything, I don't remember.
Okay, I thought you said that. You told her to be quiet.
Why did you put the pillow over her mouth?
Because I didn't want her to scream. I was just joking.
Was she screaming?
She's trying to say something.
What were you watching on the iPad? You said something very specific that you were watching videos. Tell me about that.
Just YouTube videos.
You sure about that? Because what I find hard to believe is that you can tell me what kind of videos you were watching. They were YouTube videos, but you can't tell me what happened after you put the pillow over her mouth. I think you were watching something else on that iPad.
What's the first thing that happened when you got into the room?
When I first got into the room, she was turned on her side.
She turned on her side, is that what you said?
No, she was turned on.
She was on her side.
Okay. And then what?
And just kind of stepped forward to make sure she was still asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if she heard me move, but we saw in the corner of her eye. But she turned, like just her head, she turned. And that's when I put the pillow on her.
Okay.
Then what happened?
she was trying to move the pillow for a minute or so, and she started grabbing my shirt. That's when I let one of my hands off the pillow to try and get her hand off my shirt. And she was able to move the pillow. So I put both my hands on her face, one on her eyes and one over her mouth.
When you say, help me understand. So did you hit her face or you just covered her?
Just covered it.
Okay.
And then what happened, man?
She started to try and get the rest of her body off the bed. She grabbed hold of one of my arms.
Okay.
And I was pulling away.
Okay.
And I let my other hand off her mouth to try and pull her off from my wrist. She tries to get up, and I think the first time I hit her was when I was trying to get her back down.
What did you hit her with?
My hand, I thought she was still laying down, but she was sitting up, so my hand was pretty quick. I'm not sure where I hit her at, but.
Did you have a fist, or was it like a slap, or?
I think it was more of a slap.
Okay.
Because I was trying to put my hand back where it was on her mouth.
Okay. You said that was the first time that you hit her? What about the next time?
It was the first time. I started trying to find something I could use to wrap her arms up.
Did you find anything?
I was trying to get the blankets I could. She kept moving her arms around. I couldn't quite get them where I could wrap them with the blanket.
When did you get on top of her?
She was moving her legs around a lot. And I was just trying to get her to stop moving.
Okay. Is that why you got on top of her?
I believe so.
You believe so or you know so? That's what I'm trying to understand, man.
I don't remember everything.
I know you remember, Randy. We've already gone through that. I know you remember. Is this something you're not going to forget? I know you remember. Because you're wrapping her arms up, man. You're putting her on her stomach. Help us understand that, man. Because I know you're not going to forget that.
I was panicking.
I know you were panicking, but I know you still remember.
Randy, what do you think? Did you hit her? Okay. But were you on top of her? Okay. Right. Help me understand. How did it end up on the court?
Went to pick her up to move her farther onto the bed. And I grabbed about where the waistband was to pick her up. She twisted or something, and my arm slid down her legs. I'm not sure. I went in there to make sure she was still asleep.
For what reason? Because before you made sure she was still asleep and you just left. What I'm trying to understand is, man, why are you grabbing blankets and tying her arms up? You're a fast guy. You could have been out of there. You could have just left, but you stayed. You put the pillow on. I understand you freaked out.
When she woke up, she grabbed my shirt.
I believe that. 100% believe that. What I'm trying to understand is how a 14-year-old young man goes from watching material in the living room and probably was aroused by that, and that's fine, totally natural, to going into this old woman's bedroom and then progressing to tying her up and putting her arms behind her back. I don't think that's how you planned on it going down. I think you did panic. I think that's reasonable. But I want to know that you're telling me the truth. I think you went in there with maybe hormones got the best of you, and you were thinking with the wrong part of your body for a moment. Mm-hmm. And you know what, man? I think every teenager has been there. I think you were just kind of caught in a bad situation.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Jamal.
When she was on her stomach, she was like trying to get onto her knees to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to find a way to get her completely lying down. I was trying to lift her up to get her legs from under her.
Okay.
I lifted her by her underwear.
Okay.
And then I was trying to get her legs from under her, and then I ended up pulling them off of her so that if I went, then no one would know about it.
She said if you what?
If you stop now, then no one would know, or something like that.
She said that to you? And what did you say?
I didn't say anything, I just let go of her.
Okay.
I grabbed her pillow and I put it on her head so that if she turned it, she wouldn't see me.
Okay, and then what happened?
When I went to open our screen door, I noticed that there was blood on my hand here. So I went over to our hose and I washed it off.
Okay.
And my shoes got wet, so I took them off.
What's the original reason that you went to her? Like, why did you go into her house that night? What were you planning to do?
Just chill somewhere where I wasn't being watched and I didn't have to quite be outside.
Okay, so were you planning to use her iPad?
No, just something that came to mind when I was there.
Sure.
Kind of an opportunity deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's when you were watching the TV and stuff? Okay.
How many times have you gone in a house like this? Kind of in the middle of the night?
That was the first time.
Before taking him into custody, the investigators gave him a few moments with his grandmother.
You know what I'm saying? She didn't deserve that. And I think you understand that, right? But just understand, I still love you. I care about you. And then I just want to see you from this moment because you can't come home now. So you're going to be going over to the jail. Understand? They told you all this stuff? Okay. So, like I said, anything that they offer you to help you, you should take it. You should take any help you can get.
Randy John initially pleaded not guilty to sexual battery and burglary of a dwelling, but that November he agreed to a plea deal in which he would plead guilty in exchange for the prosecution taking life in prison without the possibility of parole off the table. In December, he turned 15 in the Florida Department of Juvenile Justice Detention Center. A couple of months later, February 7th of 2025, the forlorn 15-year-old sat quietly as Circuit Court Judge Lisa Herndon entered the courtroom. Since Randy had already pleaded guilty, the judge skipped right to the sentencing phase of the proceedings. But before sentencing, his attorney and grandmother asked the judge to show leniency.
His brain was nowhere near fully developed when this incident happened and is still probably 10 years off from that being the case. He had relatively difficult childhood. He had no father figure in his life whatsoever. And certainly none of this is an excuse or justification by any means for what happened. He is remorseful about what happened. You've heard testimony about that. He pled guilty. But he, lost contact with his sister, I believe shortly before this happened. He very minimal contact with his mother, and he was essentially raised by his paternal grandmother. Despite all that, he's done fairly well in school. He got ahead of grade, made pretty good grades, A's and B's, I believe it was. We believe that indicates that he would be amenable to supervision as well as specialized offender treatment. As the state points out, he does suffer from depression and ADHD. And obviously there are plenty of people that have depression and ADHD that never get involved in anything like this, but that combined with his childhood certainly doesn't help. As a 14-year-old boy with, again, no father figure in his life, he appears to be somewhat get addicted to things of that nature on the internet. I'm sure that didn't help this situation. Once Jesse is released from whatever period of incarceration the court deems appropriate, will you be there for him?
Absolutely, if I'm alive still.
Will you help support him kind of getting back on his feet into the community?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like Judge Herndon to know about Jesse?
Just that he isn't the person that did this act in a natural way. He's not this guy. I think personally he panicked or something. I can't explain what happened, but he's a person that you love, you care, you liked having him around. He was a good person. He is a good person. And I care about him. I really do. And I don't know what's really fair here. I was myself recently attacked, and for me personally, the way I felt better is to have the person get help, because I think people who are in that situation, they need help. And prior to this incident happened, I was already reaching out for help. I called the police a couple different times trying to get help for him. I called the school counselor trying to get help for him. But nobody seems to, that end of things, they failed. And I really believe had he gotten the help that he needed then, he would not be here right now. I really believe that.
As convincing and heartrending as their arguments were, Judge Herndon wasn't swayed.
Mr. Stone, this is unfortunate for you, for the victim, for both of your families. I'm going to start with count 2. It's a burglary of a dwelling with a battery, which is punishable by up to life in prison. You're adjudicated guilty and sentenced to 25 years in the Department of Corrections. That's going to be followed by 30 years ex-offender probation. You're going to have to follow the ex-offender probation conditions set forth in 948.30, which includes offender treatment, a variety of other things, including polygraphs, no use of the internet without a risk assessment, no contact with children under the age of 18. I don't know that that's going to be applicable in this case, but I assume all those are still going to apply. You cannot have any contact with the victim in this case, which means that no phone contact, third-party contact, no contact in any manner whatsoever.
Later, outside the courtroom, one of the victim's family members told a reporter that they wished Randy John would have gotten more time because they didn't think that anyone who did what he did could ever be rehabilitated. It's unclear where Randy John will serve his sentence, but since he was tried as an adult, he probably will not go to a juvenile detention center until his 18th birthday, like most underage offenders. We would like to extend our sincere condolences to the family and friends of the victim.